Should Amaury Pierron have been disqualified at the World Cup in Poland? Well, that's an interesting one. So in Q1, which is it's new this year, there's no protected riders, so they have to do well and get in the top 20. Amaury crashed, jumped back on his bike, blew his feet off the pedals, and then had another huge crash off a drop. And then he had to go back up the hill for Q2, which is like your last chance to get into the final, and then you have to be in the top 10. And he did a really good run, got to the bottom, and qualified. Done. Or so we thought. Apparently Trek Factory Racing noticed he had gone around a course marker. They reported it to the UCI, but they missed the cutoff. They were too late, pretty much, for any decisions to be made. Normally that would mean a disqualification, and then Trek Factory Racing's Chris Hauser, who just missed the qualifying, would then progress to the finals. So obviously it was in their best interest to get Amaury disqualified. But what was it cheating? Did he actually cheat? This is part of the debate that's going on right now. So I've done a little drawing. Classic Catherine move. So top of the image is the jump. This is where riders normally come in. They would come into the takeoff, jump, float through the air, land here, continue on down the track. Nice and easy. What some riders were doing, because it's a big jump, it's really hard to get the speed for. Some riders would come in and then squash the jump over to the side a little bit. So they'd be in the air for a touch, land, and then come up over the back of the landing and continue on. The reason they would go to that side is the landing's a little bit lower, so there's less of a impact to come up over it. What Amaury did is he went here and round, and what that allowed him to do was have less takeoff, get the wheels back on the ground sooner, and it would be a little bit quicker. But he went around this course marker. That does seem like an obvious disqualification. But with these new course markers, it's really hard to kind of define. So the way they used to tape courses would be like this. You know, tape running right next to the course. Very little room for misinterpretation. Nice and simple. But you can see the way the course markings are. It feels to a racer like the taping is like this. That's how it feels with where all the markings are. And this one, it just feels like something that's defining the jump. But sometimes at races what they would do is have like something like this. Like that. So that the people doing the B line, not jumping it, would be directed around a slower option. So this marker, it kind of feels like it might be a definition of where the A line and B lines are. And he was just going on to the B line. I think that's what was going on in his head, because he did this in practice. We have footage of him going round this pole in practice. So I think Amaury thought this was part of the track. But I don't think it is. I think these posts are actually signifying that the track is here. Which is weird, because that's not how a racetrack would get taped. So I get the confusion, but what this is going to do now is hopefully no one's going to make this mistake again, because they'll put something out to confirm it all. But because riders aren't protected anymore, we're going to see a lot more UCI kind of like disputes where teams, it's in their best interest to get their competitors disqualified. And that's what happens with all the other sports, and that's why riders need to know the rules. And that was interesting. And I got to get this video out right now because the race is about to happen and I want to go watch it and film it. So I hope you found this interesting. Hope that makes more sense, and hope that maybe clears up any arguments you're currently having with your friends. Sick. Let's go.